Most ocean discoveries involve coral reefs, ancient shipwrecks, or strange fish species. Before we continue, please take some time to subscribe to Daily Dose, like, and share this video. But no one on Izzy Barkley's team expected what they found that day beneath the waves. When their underwater robot came face-to-face with a mysterious container at the bottom of the sea, it seemed like a routine investigation. But the moment they hauled the box onto their ship and pried open its heavy steel doors, everyone froze. What they saw inside made their skin crawl, and from that moment on, their research mission spiraled into something far more dangerous than anyone had anticipated. It all began after a series of seismic disturbances were picked up just off the coast. The Coast Guard's buoys had been detecting large-scale underwater tremors patterns so abnormal they couldn't be dismissed. These readings weren't from an earthquake. Something heavy had dropped deep into the ocean, something unnatural. That's when Izzy, a seasoned marine researcher and expedition leader, was sent with her crew to investigate. Her reputation for being fearless was exactly why she was chosen for this mission. Their ship reached the source of the tremors about 20 miles offshore. Calm waters, clear skees everything seemed normal. But what lay below was anything but. Donning her gear, Izzy plunged into the water first. Within minutes, her flashlight caught the outline of something massive, a steel shipping container resting silently on the ocean floor. But this wasn't cargo lost at sea. It was deliberate. Too deliberate. Unable to retrieve it manually, Izzy surfaced and called for the ship's heavy-lift Dronia robotic submersible, equipped with claw arms and camera feeds. As it descended into the deep blue, Izzy took the controls, guiding it toward the mysterious object. Everything was going smoothly until it came time to pull the container up. That's when the real problems began. Despite being designed for lifting massive weights, the ship's crane struggled. The entire vessel groaned under the weight. Water splashed over the deck. The container felt like it weighed far more than any standard unit. "What the hell is in there?" Izzy muttered, sweat dripping from her brow. Finally, with a thunderous bang, the container landed on deck. The crew, filled with anticipation, swarmed around it. But something felt off. No water spilled from the container. That was strange. Shipping containers usually weren't watertight. This one, however, was sealed perfectly, as if someone had purposely insulated it against the sea. Izzy's instincts kicked in. This wasn't just lost cargo. This was hiding something. Her colleague reached for the door handle, but Izzy stepped forward. "Be careful. We don't know what's in there." With bolt cutters in hand, they snapped the lock and slowly pulled open the door. Silence fell over the ship. Inside was not what anyone expected. Izzy's heart pounded. Where they anticipated salvaged goods, wreckage, or possibly hazardous waste, instead they found furniture. A bed, a small table, chairs, even family photos tacked to the wall. The inside of the shipping container was a tiny, lived-in room. It was a home. The crew stared in stunned silence. Was someone living in here? Had someone been living here at the bottom of the ocean? "No way," someone whispered. Izzy stepped inside, her boots echoing softly on the metallic floor. Her fingers ran over fabric. Her eyes scanned a closet, a small bookshelf, a weathered armchair. Everything was bolted down, but a few objects' clothes, a spoon, a family photo had tumbled across the floor during the container's descent. In the corner sat a plastic bag. Inside it, a recorder. Izzy's breath caught. She picked it up carefully, her gloved fingers trembling. Miraculously, it was dry. Could it still work? She pressed play. Static, then crackling. A man's voice. "I need to record this before they notice we're gone," the voice said, hushed and panicked. The entire crew froze, listening. "My name is Ahmed Osman. If someone finds this, please help us. Lives are at stake." Silence followed. Izzy turned to her team. No one said a word. The gravity of the situation hung thick in the air. Who was this man? What was he running from? Suddenly, the recording continued. "We're on the Ever Cargo Voyager, but I don't know how long we'll last. Please save us." The voice cut out. The group stared at one another, wide-eyed. The message was desperate and terrifying, and yet it gave them a lead, a ship's name, and a call for help. Izzy's mind raced. The Ever Cargo Voyager. She had seen that name in the database of passing vessels. It had a strange pattern, rarely docked, minimal cargo activity, barely any port records. "Why would a ship full of containers rarely stop to unload?" she whispered aloud. Something was seriously wrong. Ijinushi had to act fast. She relayed the coordinates of the ship's last known location. To her surprise, it was only 20 kilometers away floating, apparently idle. Within hours, her vessel approached. The enormous ship loomed ahead. "Keep us out of sight," Izzy instructed. "We don't know what we're dealing with." Izzy knew she couldn't do this alone. This wasn't a routine investigation anymore, it was a rescue mission. She radioed the Coast Guard and local police, sharing everything, the container, the recorder, the name Ahmed Osman and his haunting plea for help. Thankfully, authorities took the warning seriously. But Izzy had one more idea, risky one. If we approach as a group of scientists, she suggested, they might let us aboard. We can blend in and gather intel until help arrives. The plan was bold. The officers disguised themselves in Izzy's crew uniforms. The three Izzy and two undercover police boarded a small dinghy and set off toward the Ever Cargo Voyager. As they got closer, an eerie stillness surrounded the massive ship. It looked abandoned, yet they could sense movement on board. Izzy called out, requesting permission to come aboard for a marine migration study. There was a long silence. Then, slowly, a ladder was thrown down. They climbed. The captain met them on deck. His face was cold, unreadable. "You've got 1 hour," he said gruffly. No greeting, no small talk. Izzy smiled politely and nodded. She had to play the part. The trio split up and began taking readings as they explored, but there was nothing, no sign of people, no cargo being moved. The ship was too quiet. Suspiciously so. In a desperate move, Izzy began softly whispering the name. "Ahmed Osman, are you here?" She repeated it several times as they walked between the rows of containers. Then, one of the containers beside them creaked. Before any of them could react, a hand reached out, yanked them inside, and slammed the door shut. They stumbled into a dimly lit container and froze. Inside were people, families, children, all staring at them with wide, frightened eyes. And standing among them was a man Izzy immediately recognized from the photos inside the sunken container. "Ahmed?" she gasped. The man's eyes widened in disbelief. "You found it?" he whispered. Then his face broke into a mix of relief and tears. "I can't believe it worked." He reached out, shaking her hand firmly. "I'm Ahmed Osman. I've been trapped on this ship for 2 years." Ahmed's voice trembled as he explained everything, how he and dozens of others had boarded the ship, lured by promises of safe passage to better lives. But once aboard, the truth revealed itself. They were prisoners, forced into labor, never allowed to leave. In return for passage, Ahmed said, we had to work for a year, but the captain kept extending it. No one was allowed off the ship. We lived in containers like this one. His tone darkened. "When we resisted, they punished us. They found out I was organizing a rebellion, and they tossed my container overboard to make an example of me. They thought I was still inside." The air in the container grew heavy. Izzy and the officers were speechless. The scale of the exploitation, the cruelty, it was worse than they imagined. The police acted immediately. They contacted backup and provided the full report. Armed units from the Coast Guard and law enforcement prepared for a raid. The operation had to be fast and silent. They couldn't risk the crew escaping. Under cover of night, the raid began. It was swift and effective. Caught off guard, the ship's crew couldn't resist. Within minutes, the captain and his collaborators were in handcuffs. The ship was secured, the imprisoned families were freed. Izzy helped Ahmed and the others gather what little they had. The ship docked at the nearest harbor, where emergency shelters had already been arranged. Medical staff, food, and warm beds awaited them. News of the operation spread quickly. What started as a strange sonar anomaly had uncovered a dark secret hidden in plain sight. Major news outlets picked up the story. Social media exploded with outrage and support. Izzy, though exhausted, was proud not for the attention, but for the lives they saved. In the weeks that followed, the freed passengers were given aid, legal support, and a chance to start anew. Investigations into the ship's owners led to further arrests. A hidden human trafficking operation had been stopped thanks to one container, one message, and one woman's determination to find the truth. And as for Ahmed Osmani, became a symbol of resilience, the man who hid a message in a box at the bottom of the sea and lived to see the day it was heard.